you have an insatiable craving for a sweet, sweet podcast where you can listen to discussion on everything from music, TV and games, to politics, space, sports, and so much more. Do you like off-the-wall conversations and the most amazing segments with just the right amount of crazy? Well, you're in luck. Welcome to the place where three cool cats from Canada throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. Now, without further ado, introducing your hosts, Jake Andrews, Joe D'Souza, and Jackson Playfair.
What's going on, Splat Nation? This is See What Sticks Variety Podcast, episode 15. Can you believe it? We are here.
Booyah.
We made it.
A long way.
Without killing each other.
Yeah. And today we have a special guest in the house. Intro. I'm gonna just come up with one on the spot. He is a self-proclaimed hockey expert, lover of video games, semi-pro poker player. I'm just gonna call him. My dear friend and former roommate Jacob Head. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Excellent.
Great.
Doing wonderful.
Good to have you on. Before we get into anything else, I just want to say my boy and our co-host Jackson Playfair got engaged last night. Congrats, buddy! And
hey.
how you feeling? How are you feeling?
Dude, just floating on sunshine out here, my man. Couldn't be happier. Met a good girl first year in school, and the rest is history. And sealed it up and started a new journey last night. So super excited for obviously the future and everything that goes in. It's funny, like when you're with somebody. Like me and Jess have been together for like almost 3.5, 4 years. But like when you get engaged, we kind of talked about it a bit off the podcast before we started, but it kind of just like, it changes the dynamic in like a very positive way, like instantly, that like I'd never really like thought would happen because we've like known each other for so long and have become such close friends. But legitimate, like as soon as I like asked her and she said yes, it honestly feels like there's like a new like light of like energy and love that like comes into your life. It's a very, very cool feeling.
It's
for sure.
Transformative, right?
Yeah. And you kind of, well, can we say this? You met a girl and you liked her.
I did, dude. I did meet a girl and liked her.
So you told us about how it went down. Tell the audience kind of the way it went down, because I thought it was cute. I'm engaged myself, and I knew how much work was put into my own proposal. So give us the rundown. Yeah,
so it was. It's funny, like me and Jake kind of talked about it earlier. I let these guys know a couple days in advance that I was planning to do it, and then we chatted yesterday. And I was like, "Yeah, dude, like I'm gonna ask you tonight," and you get like so nervous, but like not necessarily because you're like unsure what they're gonna say, but more because like you just want it to be like so perfect the moment that you like you start thinking of all the things that can go wrong. And luckily I can say now that it's all over, it all went amazing. So for those of you that don't know Vancouver, haven't been to Vancouver, like there's like a seawall that walks all the way around, and there's like beaches along the way, and it goes into Stanley Park, and it's super nice. Like if it's pretty well known, the seawall of Vancouver, but if you come to the town and you want to check it out, you have to do it, either like rollerblade, bike, or walk around it.
It's beautiful.
Anyways, yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. And so we went to English Bay, which is just an area in Vancouver, and we started walking down the seawall, and Jess was like, I told her we were going to like a fancy dinner, just on like a date night. So she was in like heels, and we started walking on the seawall. We were gonna walk like down the seawall for like a half an hour or 45 minutes, and then like halfway or like about 5 minutes in, I was like, oh, I can't, like she can't walk all that way in her heels. So we ended up sitting down on a bench right in front of the water, down by the ocean, by the beach, and chatted for a couple minutes, and then got into it and popped the question, and she said yes, and it was awesome. And gave her the ring, and we kind of hung out there for another like 10-20 minutes. And then I had planned, made a reservation at a restaurant called Top of Vancouver, which is like, if you've been to like the Calgary Tower or the CN Tower, or in Vancouver, it's called Harbor Center, but it's like one of those like big, huge, tall buildings with like a big round top. And then in all those places, there's like a restaurant in there, and it like revolves around. So like your view is like a full 360 view of like 600 feet up of Vancouver with like the ocean and the different like neighborhoods and stuff. So it was awesome, man. And we had dinner there, and then came home and had some champagne and celebrated at the house, and woke up this morning and got to celebrate with Callahan and Penny, Jess's mom. So it was awesome. I could not have expected or hoped for a better time.
It's awesome, dude. Now,
Thanks,
you went into the 360-degree restaurant. The restaurant was $360 a plate, and your relationship came full circle 360 degrees. So it all
Exactly. It was all worth it, dude. It was
Magic.
all worth it. Yeah.
Okay, so what I want to get into first, and I'm trying to think of how I can involve Joe in this. So I found a fun way. We're gonna talk playoff hockey, and I'm gonna start us from the beginning because we haven't really talked about it since before the playoffs started. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go through the first round and then go through the second round, which they're currently in right now. I guess the round robin kind of counts, or doesn't count? No, it doesn't count. So yeah, because your guys were out before the actual game even started. But we'll talk about the Oilers and we'll talk about the Leafs a bit because I know you guys are very passionate about that and probably have a lot to say. But for the first and second round, because we already kind of know how it played out, I'm going to get Jackson and Jake's kind of not super in-depth thoughts, but like a couple thoughts per series about how they felt about the way it went down. But because Joe doesn't know anything about hockey or who won or whatever,
I know something.
I'm just going to mention... I'm going to mention the two teams, and you just tell me off the top of your head who do you think would win, but based on their awesome names.
Okay.
And
I love
then I'll
that.
kick it to them.
I love that idea.
You like that shit? Okay.
Yeah.
So, Joe, the Vegas Golden Knights versus the Chicago Blackhawks.
What did you say?
I said the Blackhawks.
It was Vegas Golden somethings.
Nailed it. So they smashed them 4-1, and Chicago had a good showing in the round robin. But what did you boys think of the Vegas Chicago? That was kind of predictable, no?
Yeah, it's pretty easy to see that Vegas was coming out of that as the winning team. The Chicago came in as the number 12 seed going into the play-ins, and I think everybody was actually kind of shocked they even made it through.
I was.
Yeah, exactly. That was a tough pill to swallow for all the Edmonton fans out there, but we'll get to that eventually in another episode when I'm over it. But for now, yeah, I mean, Vegas is the thing that people got to understand and realize at this point is like, dude, Vegas is a very, very, very good hockey team. Like the first year, everyone was like, oh, maybe it's a fluke, maybe it's this and maybe it's that, but they've just been so consistently good. And if you watch them play, they got two things that'll always make your team good in hockey. They are very, very big, and they are very, very fast. And that is super hard to play against very big, very fast hockey players. So they got a shot, man. They got a shot to go. I would say they're one of my favorites going.
I would
going
say
deep.
them and Tampa are probably the ones I'm thinking are the favorites at this point. And I think the other thing about Vegas is their goaltending is so good, 1 and 2. And, Vegas has a weird advantage that some people kind of overlook, and it's the intensity of their stadium. Like when you play in Vegas, like they're one of the loudest crowds in the entire league. And I don't know if it's just because like Vegas, woohoo, or like, they're just so pumped to have a professional sports team there. I think it's a bit of column A, a bit of column B, but undoubtedly a hard place to play. And yeah, they're looking real strong.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to take COVID into account for that one, though, because they are
there's
playing
nobody
at
there,
home.
I guess.
There is no sound.
That is true.
But,
Maybe they're just channeling.
Well coached, very strong goaltending, built from the back end.
Who's their coach now? It's not Gallant still, right? He's out.
No, it's his name's Fleury-DeBoer.
Oh, he's the former Sharks guy.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, dude, like just I know obviously with COVID they're all in Edmonton right now, so it's very different. But going back to what you said, I think the biggest thing with Vegas in their arena, and you compare it to Toronto in a sense, and Toronto gets a little bit of a bad rap because their like lower bowl is so expensive to go to games that it's all like businessmen and like people in suits and doing meetings and that kind of stuff, which
people are fired up in Toronto, dude. Like when I was working downtown, like every single game, even like people would complain a lot going to because I worked at a restaurant downtown right across the street from all the stadiums, and man, like it was almost packed every time. I mean, like for hockey at least, and for basketball, not as much in the past couple of years for baseball, but yeah, like it's expensive to go to games, but dude, that's why they're so wealthy as a team, right?
Yeah, and essentially what I was trying to say is like when you go to a game in Toronto, I haven't been to Vegas, but from what I've heard, when you go to a game in Toronto or Vegas, and then you go to a game in Arizona, they're two very, very, very different experiences. Like Toronto, Vegas is like you're going to a show, like you're going to like a very well done theatrical experience. Where in other areas where their markets aren't as good, it's just not the same experience you get.
Yeah, and I did experience that last year. I went to Toronto in the playoffs, and it is an atmosphere unlike any other. Versus living in Ottawa.
Amazing.
Living in Ottawa, having been to plenty of their games, they are pretty much as boring as it gets. There is no atmosphere. There's no energy in the building. It's just...
Isn't that crazy? Like that Ottawa is like battling for one of the worst environments with like Arizona. Like what? Like the capital of Canada has just as hard of a time filling their stadium as Arizona. And the funny thing, dudes, is it's for the exact same reason. It's just because the arena is too far away. It's not that like people don't want to support the team. They're just like, I don't want to drive all the way out to Canada or wherever the hell the arena is.
Yep.
Like, and in Arizona, dude, people in Scottsdale, people in Phoenix, like they want to go to the games really badly, but like then no one wants to drive to Glendale.
Yeah, that's a great point because like in Toronto, man, it's right central. It's like right in the heart of downtown.
You need it to be downtown.
Yeah,
for
It
sure.
has to be Edmonton downtown.
That was Ottawa's biggest mistake was letting ownership get involved in creating the new arena and blowing it entirely.
Yeah, because they were supposed to put it at LeBreton Flats, like right downtown, or like close enough to it where like the people could get to it from public transit. Like you can get to
Central.
CTC on public transit, but yeah, it's not the same. It's not like right central for everyone to easy access.
Is there a
I
reason
think it's
why?
New Orleans.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think it's fair to say that you can blame a lot of Ottawa Center's problems on ownership.
Yeah,
If not all of them. That guy is an absolute buffoon. Anyways,
let's get to the next one. So, Joe, Avalanche, Colorado Avalanche, or the Phoenix Coyotes? Arizona Coyotes. Sorry, I stand corrected.
The Colorado Avalanche.
Yes, ding, ding, ding. So 4-1 there. I don't think there was many surprises. Colorado is a juggernaut going into it. We'll talk more about their recent struggles. I mean, they're kind of getting back on track. But what did you think about Phoenix? Why do I keep calling it Phoenix? Arizona versus Avalanche in the first round.
Jacob, go ahead.
Jacob.
So Colorado's got one of the best lines in hockey and just continued to dominate all the way through.
They overwhelmed them.
Yeah. It's I think that something that people who maybe don't follow hockey or play hockey might be a little bit disconnected from it. I think it's in every sport is like the guy on the fourth line in the NHL and the guy on the first line on the NHL, there's not a huge gap there. Like, you know, there is in like skill, but like overall they pretty much can do very similar things. It's just such an elite level. But when you watch a hockey player like Nathan McKinnon and he makes the other best players in the whole entire world look like they've learned to skate 3 days ago. It's mind-blowing, dude. Like when you watch that guy skate around the ice, it is mind-blowing. And when you have a player like that on your team, you put a decent amount of pieces together behind him, you're gonna have a very strong team. And I think that Colorado might be 1 or 2 or 3 pieces missing this year, but they have a very good team. I wouldn't be surprised if they found a way to come back against Dallas.
And my boy Nazem Kadri coming over might be their MVP.
Yeah, he's been great.
Huge. And that is another dagger into every Toronto fan. But you know what? That's what happens when you make the guy's living hell in his life, living hell in the media for 5 years and tell him everything that he's done wrong in playoffs. He's going to go somewhere else and show you how good he can be in playoffs. And you kind of deserve this little humble pie you're eating, Toronto. So deal with it.
And the microscope's not as big in Colorado as it is in Toronto. So like they're just letting him be a good hockey player and contribute. And he is doing so in spades. And I got a front row center seat with my boys playing him in this round to the Kadri and McKinnon show, but our boys are doing good, so we'll talk about that one soon. What did you guys think about okay, Joe, Dallas Stars, Calgary Flames? I guess you kind of know the answer here. Yeah. Let's see if we can keep 1 and 2 straight.
Or give us your favorite name out of the two and then who you think won.
Dallas Stars and Dallas Stars.
Dallas. Okay, this game is flawed. He doesn't know the next one, so just don't talk about the next round until we get there.
Yeah, whatever. It's still hilarious. I'll just start off just quickly and then I'll pass it over to Jacob. But I have 2 words for you Dallas Stars fans, and it is Miro Heiskanen. And that dude can play hockey very, very, very well. And they have some other pieces that have chipped in nicely to make their team be strong. But holy moly, is it fun to watch that kid skate. He's so smooth. It's insane.
Yeah, and going through the year, I was kind of concerned about them with Joe Pavelski, Corey Perry not seeming to really pan out. And through this playoff, they have shown they are not done at all.
Yeah.
I think sorry, not to cut you off, Jake. What were you going to say about Perry?
Well, I was going to say he's like sandpaper, and that's kind of what they were looking for in him. And he kind of just like slept his way through the regular season. But the hope with these guys is you got them for a reason. And that reason is if you make it to the playoffs, they have the experience and they've been there before, that they show up in the right situations. And thank God they have, because it's helped.
Yeah. And I think like just what I was going to say about I don't think any team probably benefited more from benefits is not a great word to use, but you understand what I mean, than the Dallas Stars, because they had a little bit of an older lineup that clearly used this break to get juice back. And like Pavelski's been awesome. Like Pavelski's been great. Corey Perry's been great. Ben and Sagan have been very solid. You know, like it, that I think the break more than anything helped them, where all these other teams with young kids, they're like wind up toys, man. You just need to give them a couple of cranks and like the kids will just run around the ice. Where these old guys, like they use that time to recover their bodies, like get right, get ready. And I think we're seeing that now, that like, dude, Dallas looks, I think a Dallas Vegas Western Conference would be a fun series to watch.
Yeah, and I think we might be headed in that direction. We'll get there soon. But like one thing I want to touch on with the Calgary series is the young boys carried us through that. So you had Gurianov, you had Heiskanen, obviously, and then a large portion of Pavelski, and he's not a young guy, but for the large part, it was the younger contingency, because Ben didn't show up, Sagan didn't show up, Radulov didn't show up. None of them showed up for the first round. And they skated their way through, relied on the young guys. But then when we hit the next series, I'll talk a little bit about how they finally showed up. St. Louis versus Vancouver. What do you think, Joe?
I got to go with Vancouver, baby. That's the only one that I
3 for 3 or 4 for 4.
And that is only a pick only a non-hockey fan would have made going in.
I know, I should have made some bets, damn.
Yeah, dude.
Because St. Louis came in, reigning champs. Everybody thought they were going to be probably in the finals again. And that series was a bit of a wild one.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Good on Vancouver, man. Like Vancouver showed up ready to roll. It was I did not have Vancouver picked, as I don't think a ton of people did, but I think that it kind of once again shows you what young star power and good goaltending can do for you in this very unique tournament, right? I think they have undoubtedly one of the better, if not the top, 5 to 7 goalies in the league with Jacob Markstrom and Hughes on the back end, and then their front end talent. But with all that said, their fourth line, third line guys stepped up huge. Like Tyler Mott has been phenomenal. Sutter is doing it. You know what I mean? Like I think that they just found a way to get everything working at the right time. So they've been very interesting to watch this playoffs.
Yeah, Quinn.
Go ahead.
Oh, well, Quinn Hughes got the most points out of all rookies with 11, and Bo Horvat's got the most goals out of anybody with 8. So they relied on a few key people, Markstrom on the back end, and definitely upset the world because, like Jacob said, St. Louis was on a roll. Everyone expected them to at least make it out of the first round and get on Vancouver. They're the only Canadian team still playing, right?
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that we'll come back to because I have a couple more questions for you guys, and one of them pertains to the whole St. Louis ordeal. But let's move on because we still got a few more series. I just want to carve through them quick. Flyers versus the Canadians. Joseph.
The Flyers.
Joe's looking at the chart.
Yeah,
right
you
now.
got to be
Did
on
I get that one too?
NHL.com at this point.
Okay, what did you boys think of that one? Because that was a close one. That was probably better than it should have been given the 8-1 seed.
I actually love this series for the fact that it put Carter Hart up against Carey Price.
Yeah, that was amazing.
It was something to look forward to, and that is the best goalie currently versus the probably best up-and-coming goalie.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah. And almost like these weird carbon copies of each other. Like, I think Hart obviously has more room to grow into it, and Price is very established, but very similar styles, which is really cool to watch.
Yeah, and I think Brian Elliott is my, like, where the fuck did you come out of kind of story for the Flyers, because he's leading in goals against average. He must not be the guy who started it for. Oh yeah, it's Carter Hart, 2.08. Brian Elliott. So where did he come from? Is Carter Hart injured right now?
No, they had some back-to-backs in these playoffs, which is really weird. And so they went with Brian Elliott on the second half.
Yeah.
So he must have pulled through for him because that's pretty sparkling GAA.
Yeah, I didn't even realize he got a start. But yeah, that's another thing about these playoffs that's I don't know. I understand it. It's unique, but the back-to-backs, dude, is tough.
How can you do that?
It throws a whole different aspect into it of actually having to like plan for the next game, not just throw out your best guys every single shift and like go for the win every like shift.
Yeah. And it really makes it changes your coaching too, right? Because the NHL is as every professional league is, I think, in sports, it's 99% preparation for the coaches and 1% of the actual game, where the players, like, you're just trying to provide stuff that's useful to the players. And when you don't have that extra day, it really goes from like being able to dissect the game and break it all down and get like this deep autopsy of everything that happened. And then it turns into, all right, either good job, we won the game, let's move forward, or we lost the game, forget it happened, go to sleep, get some rest, wake up tomorrow, come back and play. Like, it changes the whole dynamic of what playoffs are in that sense. But not to get too off track with the Philly Montreal series, but to say Montreal looked really good. Price, I was really impressed with Nick Suzuki for Montreal on the offensive end, and Brendan Gallagher until he got his jaw busted by I think Niskanen or somebody. But that's the price you pay to play in the best league in the world.
But I did actually have a comment on that series because What do you guys think about the fact that they came in, somehow won their play-in as the 12 seed, and kind of throws a bit of a wrench into their rebuilding, retooling sort of situation?
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, it's weird, man, and that's what happens in hockey, because now all of a sudden you're questioning the whole idea of a rebuild, right? I
Well, and
think
instead
that,
of picking in the top 10, now they're picking 16, which they may not get quite the same quality player at.
yeah, and I think the hard part about Montreal is having a guy like Carey Price makes it very hard to go full rebuild mode, right? Like, because you always in the back of your mind have that like thought of like, this guy can steal us a series, like he can win us a whole series. So do we try and rebuild the whole lineup, or do we try and add enough pieces to win a couple series and then have Carey Price steal us one or two? It's such a tough.
I don't like this middling of the pack sort of point that Jacob's making, as far as like, yeah, like you don't want to just peer out tank it, but why hold on to Carey Price? Trade him away while he's still like the number one goalie in the league to a team that desperately needs that piece to put him over the top, and get those prospects back while you are in the rebuild. Don't have the guy who can steal you a series or two and tank your draft pick. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Is it the contract? Like, why are they not trading him?
I mean,
I think they think they can come turn it around quick enough not to need to trade him.
Do you think that's possible?
Yeah,
Suzuki's showing some stuff.
That's one guy. I mean, they impressed me as the 12 seed, don't get me wrong, and I think that's the beauty of hockey, is where the 12 can show up to the dance and say, if you're not taking me seriously, I'm going to smack you around. And they did that, so they got themselves into the first round, but I think that's to their detriment. Like, I think their team's going in the opposite direction in general. They're showing the fighting spirit, but I don't think it's doing them any favors.
I'll tell you right now, I believe to a degree in like hockey karma. And I think Montreal as a city is still not over the way that they got rid of Patrick Waugh. for how crazy that sounds, dude. Like, you traded arguably the best goalie ever, and he left on very, very bad terms.
Not only that,
the next year.
Yeah.
It was bad juju.
And then wins the Stanley Cup, the next year. I just feel like Montreal doesn't want to do something that then is going to like have them 3 years down the road be like, shit, why did we do that?
But they're not that close, though. They don't have the pieces around them minus him. So like, I don't get that argument.
I know. I think that the idea is that they do have pieces. Maybe it's not the pieces that we think is enough to win a Stanley Cup, but you also have Shea Weber on the back end, who you don't need to plug a million good, or you don't need to have 18 great players around a captain like that. Like, you just need to put the right. It's such a hard formula to figure out ultimately. And I think that when your job's on the line, it's hard to go into anyone's office and say, hey, give me 3 more years, or 4 more years, or 5 more years. Like, you got to look at Mark Bergevin, right? Like, he's been there for a long enough time now where he can't walk in the owner's office and be like, hey, we're doing okay, but give me 5 years to blow this thing up. Like, that usually happens with a new GM. So I just think, in my opinion, they're going to, as long as he's there, they're going to keep trying to stay competitive.
They just need to bring Scott Gomez back, and they'll be all right.
Boom. There it is. And Alexei Kovalev.
Okay, so let's move on to Tampa Bay and Columbus. So this was the one that I was like, so looking forward to. Nope, you got it wrong.
No!
Joe is not a god.
No.
Yes. But you're still batting at a very good average here. So Tampa Bay versus Columbus was interesting for a number of reasons, not the least of which was the result of last year's first round playoff series, which nobody saw coming. Historic season from Tampa Bay, only to get smacked around and swept in the first round. So I was intrigued to see, Torts has always got his boys ready. They are very good on the back end. They're very disciplined. It did not go how they expected it to go, but they did fight. A lot of the games were close, and I saw that final elimination game where Tampa Bay came back, and that was just some good hockey. So what did you boys think of that one?
So that one was a very tight series, despite the fact that undeniably Tampa has more talent all the way through their lineup from top to bottom. And I was scared it was going to repeat of last year, and for Tampa's sake, because they lost Stamkos.
How bad would that have been if that was the case and they lost to Columbus again in the first round? What do you do?
Not many people would have jobs left on that. On that,
somebody's head would have rolled.
100%.
It would have been the coach, right?
Absolutely. I thought he wasn't even coming back this year.
If they don't go to the Stanley Cup Finals, I don't think he's coming back.
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
And
they better.
Yeah, and I mean, short of winning it, I would say, just because you gotta I think it's one of an obvious statements, but like, it's almost approaching like Washington level, where you're like, dude, come on, like, how good is your team, and why are you guys not winning? Like, it got so close to being there with like Ovi and Washington, where people were just like, dude, figure it out, and Tampa's getting there, right?
I think Tampa's there already, because this has been years of like, they had Stamkos, Kucherov, Point, Hedman, like their top pieces are stacked,
and
they're the best of the best, right? At like every position. Okay, so we digested that one, and because you mentioned Ovi and because you mentioned them, like, couldn't get over the hump for the longest time, finally did. Only to just disappoint me. Okay, so Joe, sorry. The Washington Capitals versus the New York Islanders.
The Washington Capitals.
Not only did they lose, but they got the shit beat out of them 4-1.
Yeah.
The storyline for that series was the old coach of the Capitals, who brought them to the Cup, transferring over to the Islanders. And
he is a fucking god.
Ooh, drama.
Yeah. I think that there's a little bit of an aspect where just like Islanders continue to show that hockey can be very, very simple. Like, hockey's fun when it's not simple, and it's end-to-end rushes, and it's $40 million on one line. That's interesting. But if you dump pucks and hit bodies and play to a very, very, very tight defensive system, you can win hockey games. And Barry Trotz and the New York Islanders are showing that this year.
Well, and I'm going to let Jacob jump in here in a second here. This series reminded me so much of Tampa Bay versus Columbus, because it's like the big friggin' powerhouse with deep team, good at every position, versus a team that's just grinding it out, good coaching, disciplined, but it went the other way, like completely, like a mirror.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice to see that there is more than just one way to build a team that can be successful. That you can bring in a top-end coach and bring in a few pieces that just seem to fit into your system.
Yeah, and that doesn't happen very often, where the coach is like the catalyst to turning your team into like something that can succeed in the playoffs. And I think that their team is like, success by committee, and there's not really too many like standout players, especially after they got rid of Tavares. Everyone was like, oh, I don't know. They got Okposo and
Barzal is their big one.
Yeah,
Barzal is their big dog. Yeah. And that's going to be interesting. And that's the bottom line is Lou Lamoriello, their GM, is like infamous for underpaying superstars or refusing to pay superstars. And whether we like it or not, whether we want to agree with it or not, like, there's just a new precedent in the NHL where when you get to a certain level and you can play the game at a certain level, you get paid at a certain level. So it's going to be interesting. I think Barzal's situation, he's either a restricted free agent this year or next year, I want to say.
I think it's this year.
I think it's this summer too. You got to, because bread man gets paid. And if you don't, if you don't pay that man, he will find that like people will offer sheet him for sure.
Yeah,
And if
somebody's going to give him the money, and then you're forced into the situation where you have to give him the money.
Exactly.
And how bad of a position is that to be in?
Yeah, the only time I've ever seen that work out was with Sebastian Aho in Carolina last year or 2 years ago, maybe. But Montreal offer sheeted him, and like Carolina's owner came out afterwards and was like, we would have paid him more. Like,
fuck you guys.
Like you offer sheeted him, and before we even started negotiations, we just paid him what you offered him, but we would have given him way more. And it's just, I mean, I think ultimately the Islanders are going to have to buck up and pay him, or else it could be bad news on the island, but I think they'll do it.
Yeah, Montreal there was really looking to get the front-loaded contract and hope that Carolina wouldn't be willing to give him, $30 million over the first 2 years.
Exactly.
And funny you talk about Carolina and Aho. And he's a phenomenal player. Let's talk about the Bruins versus the Carolina Hurricanes. Joe.
Carolina Hurricanes.
Man, you're batting 0 for 3 in the last week.
Man,
the Bees. What did you guys think about that one? So 4-1 Boston. I think it was clear to me that Carolina was, out of its element in this one. And I think it's not so much that they're not a good team. I think Boston's just built for the playoffs, and they have arguably the best line in hockey. So what do you guys think?
This was a real tough series in that I thought Carolina actually was built to possibly win a series against Boston. They have 6 defensemen who can play in pretty much any team's top 4.
Yeah. So what do you think was their downfall?
Goaltending?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have much to disagree. And again, as I said for Dallas, 2 words. I'll say for Boston 3, and it's Pasternak, Bergeron, and Marchand. And it
that
is
little rat face fuck.
Dude, that's why Boston Bruins fans can be so ignorant, because they know that they have. I don't even know if it's arguable anymore. I think it might be the best line in hockey. Consistently over the past however many years, and they're paying them like nothing. Dude.
$21 million between the 3.
Like, come on, man! You're paying Austin Matthews $15 million on one day in July, and those 3 guys make $21 million a year. Like
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't even like talking about Boston, because it's like literally talking to the guy who won the lottery about money problems. It's like, get out of my face, dude.
Well, that's got to be on the GM and the ownership to have structure the contracts that way, and to pick the right guys, the right horses to back. And we've worked our way through the first round here. But one thing I want to say is when Jackson and I were kind of talking about how we thought the playoffs would go before it even started, I think I had mentioned that Philly was in my teams to watch. And I said they would be a team in the East to kind of watch. And I just want to say the round robins of the teams that were a shoo-in for the playoffs, I did not expect Philly to be the number 1 seed. And I did not expect Boston to be the number 4. So the way it played out with Tampa, Philly, Washington, and Boston, 4 very good teams. I was riding Philly hard, but did not think they would be the number 1 seed.
Yeah. I mean, they're another sneaky good team, dude. Like, they just Giroux, Voracek, Hayes, Couturier. That's 4 solid, very solid hockey players on your front end.
But
yeah, when you got Carter Hart.
Yeah, as Jackson was saying earlier, though, I lost my train of thought.
They also are a very well coached team too. They have 3 NHL head coaches on their team. They have Alain Vigneault, Mike Yeo, and I just had it and it just slipped my mind. But anyways, Michel Therrien.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
They're just convening a conference of head coaches. No, we'll do it by committee here. No way.
Exactly.
The aspect I was going to bring up was the old versus young. Boston's an older team. Their best players are in their later 30s. Whereas you're looking at Philly, their goalie's 21. Their top defensemen are all under 25. Some of their better players are still under 30.
And that's what I mentioned to Jackson before the playoffs started, is like one of the reasons I thought Philly would do so well is because they're a young team with legs and speed and just a lot of different stars. And, you can say all you want for experience, and, sometimes it's just the young dogs in the race that just have that skill and that speed to burst through the neutral zone and make it happen. And it looks like that's what they're doing. So, let's talk second round here, because there's some exciting things going on as we speak. So Vegas versus the Canucks. So no more like predictions because nobody's won yet. I don't know how to get Joe involved in this. Joe, who do you want to win? Obviously Vancouver, right?
Of course. It's without a doubt going to be Vancouver.
I know, dude. I tried to tell Joe we got to get him. You got to get into it, man. You got to watch because hockey, dude. When hockey's good, especially in the playoffs, there's
So
legitimately nothing else on this planet like it. Like,
so I got my my Fire Stick, and I don't know if I told Jacob that, but like I've been watching the live TV on there, and sometimes it's buffering when I'm trying to watch my live hockey, and I'm literally throwing shit at the TV, like screaming, like I just want my fucking hockey. Like it's so good when it's going.
Every time I'm streaming and it's right in the middle of a super important play, that it always freezes.
Yeah, I was watching the first round between Dallas and Calgary, and it was like 4-2 for Dallas. I turned the game on, and it's buffering and screwing up, and I'm screaming at the TV and telling Michelle, this is bullshit. I can't watch it like this. And all of a sudden, Calgary starts to come back, and they like tie it. And I'm like, all right, I'm turning this fucking shit off, and I can't watch my team anymore.
Does it almost feel like the lag is causing the issues with the game?
No, I feel like it sometimes.
I swear these networks, man, they lag it during that time to get you to like come back. But dude, Dallas, they have, as you mentioned, their Calgary series, and then I thought about their game the other day against Colorado. They have been absolute electric factory in playoffs, dude. These games are insane.
I know.
3-0
so many
swings,
comebacks,
like goal, like, dude, oh my God. I was watching.
They've been down 3-1 more than anybody in the playoffs, and have just come back at will.
It's amazing, man.
That's not my team. I don't know where this offense has come from, but I love it.
Dennis Gariana.
Yeah, I know. Of all people, no, he's great. He's good, but who would have thought that he'd be like the guy to get 4 goals in one fucking game? Yeah. I digress. Vegas is up 2-1 on Vancouver. So what I want to know is, does Vancouver still have a chance? Of course they do, because it's playoff hockey. But if they are going to come back against a juggernaut such as Vegas, with everything that we've named, how good they are, what's their key to success here? And before you answer, I don't know how, when we were mentioning how good Vancouver's doing and the keys to it, we mentioned a lot of players. We didn't mention Elias Pettersson. I know. I'm sorry. He's like 3rd in points or something.
Oh, he's phenomenal.
Second in points.
He's like what I imagine Harry Potter would be like if he played hockey.
Okay.
For real,
What's
dude.
that mean?
He's a wizard?
Bro.
Yeah, okay.
He's a wizard on the ice. I'll just keep it short and then kick it to Jacob. But my keys to Vancouver's success are Markstrom needs to get hot as a 10-cent iron, and hope to goodness that their defense can hold them up a bit. And they got to get a lot of power plays, and their power plays got to get hot, because if they can score like Pettersson, Besser, Horvat, Hughes, and JT Miller on your power play, that's a power play that can compete with anybody in the league. So if their power play can get hot and their goaltending can get hot, they can definitely, it's not over till the fat lady sings. But those are my two
that's really the keys for me too. Is Markstrom's gotta get on fire and steal a couple of games for him, really.
Yeah. You know what I think the key for me is they got to go in and they got to break Robin Lehner's legs.
There it is.
To what? No. To face Marc-Andre Fleury? Because that's
yeah. No, and then
it's death by 1,000 swords for them. Like, because Vegas isn't doing anything. One person. No, there's no Sidney Crosby or fucking Alex Ovechkin coming around.
A good
they are just solid across the board.
Yeah.
Dude, the only people that are in like the top list for anything that I'm looking at are defensemen. They got Shea Theodore with 12 points, and then all the way down near the bottom with 6 is Nate Schmidt. So they're not putting up points any single person, but they got a lot of like Alex Tuch, solid player. He's putting the dangles on people every once in a while, but
dude,
they're just a good team.
They still got they still got Mark Stone, Max Pacioretty.
Mark Stone is so good.
Yeah,
their offense is pretty, like, they're deep all the way through, forwards, defense, and ridiculously at this point, goalies.
Yeah. So here's what you got to do, Vancouver. Vancouver, you have to Markstrom, play out of your mind, power play, get hot, break Robin Lehner's legs, hack Marc-Andre Fleury's agent's Twitter account and tweet out a few more pictures about how Marc-Andre Fleury is mad at Pete DeBoer, and then they'll have to call
warfare.
up. Then you have to call
about that for a minute,
dude. Like what? Like how the hell?
What player approves their agent putting out a message like that mid-playoff series?
Dude, there's no way. So anyways, Joe, and for people who don't know, Marc-Andre Fleury was like the starting goalie for Vegas. Vegas traded for Robin Lehner. Robin Lehner is a starting goalie also. Playoffs come around. The coach chooses to start Robin Lehner over Marc-Andre Fleury. Marc-Andre Fleury's agent tweets out a picture of Marc-Andre Fleury like in the butterfly position on his knees in the net with like a knight's sword going through his chest.
Oh my God.
And blood coming out of the sword, and on the sword is printed the last name of the head coach, DeBoer.
Wow.
That's rough.
So imagine walking in the locker room the next day and the coach is like, "Hey man, what the hell?"
Yeah, that's a big what the fuck moment. Does he have the same agent as Tuukka Rask? Like,
oh, dude, for real, both these guys. Like, I mean,
what the fuck was that?
Dude, I guess Tuukka Rask was like, a family issue. Which, if that is the case, I'm gonna say right now, I don't say anything bad. I mean this all jokingly and all that, and blah blah blah. But he sure made it seem like he just wasn't playing very good and didn't want to be there.
Yeah,
like,
the way he talked was just kind of oh yeah, it feels like pond hockey. We're just having some fun out here. I don't really feel like I'm being here anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, versus now the story is coming out that his kid at home's got some serious illness going on, and nobody can blame him for that. But he should have led with that.
Exactly. Yeah, all jokes aside, if that's the reason for it, then we're not against that. So it was making a joke
for sure.
Let's move on to the one I'm most invested in. So Joe,
hit me.
Colorado Avalanche, Dallas Stars. There is only one answer, and if you don't say it, I'm going to murder you.
Dallas Stars. It's a star.
No, you're a Colorado guy. I know you are.
No, I only had one poster of Joe Sakic when I was a kid.
I had a Colorado jersey when I was a kid.
Yeah,
so.
I like be Joe, dude.
Yeah, he's solid.
Yeah, but
all-time great.
I know you love the Stars.
Oh, I love the Stars, and it's such a weird team to cheer for. I get it every time I mention it to somebody, but I don't give a fuck year in, year out, and I'm glad that they're a good team. So I don't think anyone really expected them to go too far because they look like they were disjointed just going into it. They barely scraped by in the round robin, got the win against St. Louis to not embarrass themselves and play Vancouver, which might not have been the greatest series for them. They scraped past Calgary with some awesome comebacks, like Jackson said. What a good series that was. But now they're up against what people, and I saw social media light up, people saying, oh, it's going to be a 4-0 sweep or a 4-1. And look at us now. We cleaned their clocks in the first two, kind of woke them up for game 3. It's looking pretty good going into game 4 and beyond. What do you guys think of this one?
I'm going to be honest. I was one of those people saying, yeah, sorry, this is a 4-3, like 4-1, 4-0 sort of series. It's
after I saw them against the Flames, I was like, I don't think that's going to happen. Like, I wouldn't surprise me if it did, but I can definitely see Dallas making this interesting. And look at them.
Yeah, chalk me up as well as a guy who thought, here we go. Colorado's going to roll this. And I got to give them all the credit in the world, dude. I underestimated that. I guess partly because I probably haven't watched them enough this year either.
Nobody has.
Yeah. I mean, I love Jamie Benn. Like, Jamie Benn might be one of my favorite hockey players to watch play hockey when he's playing well.
Which isn't very often lately, but yeah, he's awesome.
But you know what I mean? Like, it's honestly, Jamie Benn plays hockey like how your dad would play if he played at like a drop-in with your team. Like, if you were in like
the quintessential leader that just like when he shows up, that's the guy you want leading your team.
Exactly. And he can just bully guys on the ice, which is a nice trait to have. Yeah. Just bully out there. But no,
he's
dude,
like an 80, 90 point guy when he wants to be, but he's also that guy that could just drop the mitt and slap you around.
Yeah, dude, he won the Art Ross one year.
That keyword, when he wants to.
Yeah. Exactly, when he feels the need. So, no, but all the power to Dallas. Man, I would love to see Dallas go to the finals. That would be awesome.
Oh my God. Imagine if they beat Colorado, and if they do, they're going to be riding on a sea of who the fuck can't we beat if we can beat those guys who everyone thought was going to stomp us. But if Vegas beats Vancouver and we beat Colorado, oh man, that's gonna be a tough one, but that's gonna be an exciting one.
That would be fun hockey to watch, man. That'd
but
be a war.
if you guys do pull this out, you're gonna get so many comments of it's because you took out Philip Grubauer.
he took himself out. That
was a weird injury.
Yeah, well, the defenseman like pushed him somewhat. Like, it did look like his foot kind of kicked his skate a little bit, but like he undoubtedly pushed him. I don't know if he pushed him into him, but he pushed the guy. Did you see that play, Jackson?
I didn't actually. Was that last night's game?
No, I think it was game 2.
Was it 1 or 2 that was they came, like, them and Colorado went back and forth in the third?
That was game 2, I believe.
Okay.
No, that was the most recent game, and it was, I think it was 3-1. We came back and tied it 3-3, and then we went up 4-3, and then we ended up losing it 6-4 or 5-4.
No, they won that because it went. Yeah, you were right. It was 3-1
every fucking game.
Yeah, it just went back and forth right down to the wire, and then Dallas won. But dude, that's the best part about playoffs. No matter what happens, there's always going to be that, like, yeah, but if you didn't do this, or if that didn't happen, then this wouldn't happen. And it's like, yeah, but that's why it's so beautiful. That's why the game is so beautiful this time of the year.
Yeah, you know what, Jacob? I'll take that victory all day long. They can say whatever they want about Philip Grubauer, but you're golfing and we're still going.
And nobody can take that away from you.
Exactly.
And it'd be an uphill battle if we do play them. But let's move on. I could talk Dallas all day, but Philadelphia Flyers, Joe, and the New York Islanders.
I'm gonna say the Philadelphia Flyers.
So the interesting thing about this one is New York Islanders are leading at 2-1. Philly was the 1 seed. Islanders, scraping by, like we said, the lunch pail committee kind of team, but they did beat the living crap out of the Washington Capitals, and they're up on the Flyers now. So the Flyers undoubtedly have the ability to get back into it, but what do they need to do to just say, we're going to crack the code that is Barry Trotz and the boys? Do they just need to settle the nerves and realize that they are the 1 seed and like they're the team to beat, or like what's going on here?
I think just kind of looping it back to what I talked about earlier, with the way that the Islanders play hockey, you got to realize when you're in a horse race and when you're in a chess match, right? And when you're in a horse race, it's let's see how fast we can run for these 60 minutes, and whoever ends up at the end with the carrot in their mouth wins. And then there's playing the Islanders, which is, let's sit down and every shift, every second you touch the puck, it's going to be an absolute journey battle to try and figure out where this thing's going to go. And it's hard, man. Like, it's hard to adapt to that and to play against that style. If it's going to happen, they got to find a way to systemly match up with them a little bit better, and then on the back end let their talent like the famous saying in hockey, like hard work beats talent every time unless talent's willing to work hard. So
Yeah.
Their talent has the ability to pull it off at the end, but they got to just realize, like, system wise, you got to just match them punch for punch.
Now, I want Jacob's opinion. That was a beautiful analogy, the horse race and the chess match, because that's exactly what it is. And I think, are they playing the trap, or are they playing like zone? Are
Dude,
they clogging up the neutral zone?
They play like the weirdest version of the trap because they're like so aggressive on their forecheck. But then they like the trap has kind of went away a bit in hockey because you reload so hard. So what that means is like your forwards that are like forechecking up ice. As soon as the puck starts going up ice, you reload back. And that's what Vegas does so well. Like Vegas reloads above the puck so fast. So they get back into defensive positioning. And the Islanders kind of do that too, but they just don't take as many offensive risks. Like they're very wise with their risk mitigation, where like when they do take a risk, it's pretty much a 90% going to pay off. If it's like a 70 or 75% going to pay off, they just won't take the risk. And that's where hockey becomes boring, but that's where a good, well-coached team is.
And that's where I'm at with this series, because I looked at it and went, these are two well-coached teams, pretty well play the same style, use their depth as their main aspect, and they're pretty much as I thought it was going to be the most boring series, so I honestly haven't even taken a look at it.
Yeah, I haven't watched a game of it either.
I find Alain Vigneault is like that coach that gets the most out of his team for like the first 2-3 years he's there, and then they fucking tune him out in year 4 and 5. But he is getting the most out of them right now, and I think if anyone's gonna overcome the Barry Trotz factor of I'm just gonna outcoach you and make you look stupid, it might be a guy who's got similar tenure like Alain Vigneault. So it's only 2-1. We'll see how it goes. This is one I'm keeping an eye on because I'm rooting for the Islanders. I just want them to keep this dark horse thing going. The last one we got here is Tampa Bay Lightning and Boston Bruins. Joe, what do you got?
Tampa Bay Lightning.
The lightning round. Yeah. So Tampa Bay is up 3-1. Two of the best teams in the league. This is the one that I thought was going to be the most back and forth out of the matchups because it looks the most even on paper. But they're just getting stuffed. The Bruins just not showing up to play with the speed and the skill. But like they have a pretty equal top line, but I think it's the drop off after the first line that's really making the difference here. What do you guys think?
I think this would be a lot closer with Tuukka Rask in play, but unfortunately with him dropping off and Halak taking the reins.
Oh, it's Halak. Yeah, I was going to say.
No, like he's a solid goalie, but he's not Tuukka Rask.
No, he's definitely not.
Yeah. Exactly. I think that you nailed it right on the head. It comes down to depth, and depth includes your goaltending. And it's tough, man. Like Tuukka Rask is a gamer, right? You look at Carey Price, and like Carey Price is the technically most sound goalie in the position today. Tuukka Rask is a gamer. Like he doesn't look like he might, like every play he sometimes looks a little bit sporadic, a little bit out of there, a little bit kind of like not like he's gonna do what he needs to do. But he just finds a way to keep his team in games and keep them when they need a save, he makes it. And I think that one thing that, like we talked about, Boston fans, they got nothing to complain about. One thing they do complain about is Tuukka Rask never winning a cup and never doing it for them. And I think this year is just kind of going to add to that. Like if we would have had him, we could have had it, and this and that and blah, blah, blah.
They've been dogging that guy for years now, though, just saying like he can't do it for them. And like they were at Game 7 last year. Like,
yeah. And the day he left the bubble, every fan was going, he's costing us the playoffs.
Yeah, fuck that guy and his family.
Yeah, and basically, what can we do to get rid of this guy right away? Because he's clearly not a team player.
That's the same thing they did with the Celtics and Kyrie Irving. As soon as like he mentioned anything about like, oh, I'm gonna look out for myself. How dare you? How fucking dare you?
And that paid off well for them.
Yeah. Well, it did because we could talk basketball another another time, but they got an even better player.
Yeah,
Kyrie Irving, good player, but he's not what they needed. What they needed is who they got. I digress. One question I do have for you guys, because it comes down to 2 series. I want to know which upset surprised you more. Was it Vancouver beating St. Louis, or was it the New York Islanders beating the Capitals?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I can tell you right now, people at work when Vancouver won were fired up. Like,
As they should be. That was huge. You knocked out the defending champs, and nobody gave you a shake.
I think for that aspect alone, I got to give it to Vancouver beating St. Louis.
And they're not outstanding in any one area. Like, they're just very good in some areas, but like I didn't think they had the depth to even go 6. You know?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Vancouver.
And you knew like the mind game factor of facing your old coach in the Islanders series might have had something to do with them just blowing a tire. There was no factor in Vancouver versus St. Louis where you could say, oh, this might throw St. Louis off their game. And I know they're coming out with excuses now that their players were like sick in the bubble and shit. Like, I'll save that shit. They're all dealing with their shit. Like, I don't buy that at all.
No.
Okay, so we're looking at 8 teams now. All very good in their own right. Some, better than others on paper. Who's the favorite now?
Jacob. Yeah, Jacob, you go ahead. We'll go East and West.
Yeah, let's. Who do you think's coming out of the East? Who do you think's coming out of the West? And then who's winning that series?
So I got Tampa out of the East. They're too strong all the way through. The fact that they haven't already won a cup is almost ridiculous.
They're finally being Tampa, right?
Yeah,
or who we expected them to be.
And then out of the West, it's got to be Vegas. Robin Leonard's been stellar. They have a strong decor. The fact that you didn't even mention Mark Stone when talking about them earlier just shows how deep they are on the front end.
But he's like one of my favorite players. Like, that guy's one of the best 2-way players. And when he played for Ottawa, he was the guy that I kept looking at and saying, like, he makes their team tick. So now when he goes to Vegas and he doesn't have to be the guy, they just have a bunch of the guys. Like, it's so easy for him to flourish, and love the guy. Jackson, what do you think?
Honestly, I'm going to go I told, like, my 1A from both sides is exactly what Jacob said. So I'm going to give you my 1B and 1B from each side, just because I think Vegas, Tampa is my pick for it too. But I'm going to say for plan B, I would love to see the New York Islanders and the Dallas Stars in the finals. And
that would be hilarious.
I just think that, like, the thing about that is if New York can somehow, some way, in some world figure out a way to do that, it'll make everyone like really re-question how important it is to have a very, very, very good head coach, like someone who has that ability, which I think obviously people know the importance of a good coach right now, but it can show you, like, you don't just need these amazing, like, you can do it in other ways. I don't think it's going to happen, but I would like to see it. And then Dallas would be a fun team to watch party after they win it.
Yeah, I love you for saying that, because it means a lot to me for somebody to have their back. I think I'm the same as you guys. I think Vegas in the West. I think Tampa Bay in the East. But what I would say is would not surprise me, and it's hard for me because you guys, we'll talk about the moratorium on Toronto and Edmonton. We'll have Jacob back. We'll talk about what they need to do for next season, because that was on my list of questions, but we're just not going to have time for it today. But my team is still in it, so it's harder for me to be unbiased. So if I had to take a pick, I would say we're going to beat Colorado, and then we'll somehow find a way to make it work. So Dallas out of the West. But you know what I can see happening in the East is I think the New York Islanders will make it a scrap. I think they're going to lose in 7 to Philly. I think Tampa Bay is going to roll through Boston in 5. And then I think Tampa's going to have so much time off that they're going to get complacent or rusty or whatever you want to call it. Philly will be in a dogfight and they'll be tuned up, ready to go. And they performed against Tampa in the round robin. And I can see Philly taking Tampa. So I would like to see Dallas versus Philly in the finals.
Boom.
And that is the way we speak it.
Nice. I'm gonna just say Vancouver all the way.
For Canada's sake, I hope
Juke
so.
left, juke right, slap shots, one timers. They're gonna win, boys.
Dangle, dingle, dangle. Zig when you should have zagged.
And dig when you should have dug, bro.
Okay, now I just got one last question on hockey, and then we're going to transition into some fun video game talk. Which player impressed you the most so far this playoffs?
I'll let Jax take that first.
Honestly,
there's a lot of them.
Yeah, there is a lot of them. I was gonna go.
It's easy to say Nathan McKinnon. It's easy to say.
No.
I thought he said Heiskanen earlier.
Oh, he did.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna contradict myself on all ends because I think that Heiskanen, even though he's so good and he's so young, you almost do expect him to. It's almost like Hughes. Like, yeah, Hughes is so good and he's so young, but like, I kind of expected that, or at least knew he was capable of it. But two guys that I've been very pleasantly surprised by, Tyler Mott in Vancouver, I think has been a big piece in a small role for them. And then Tyler Mott, I think he plays in the third or fourth.
I have no idea who that is.
Yeah,
and you're a hockey fan. What is going on here?
I think he had 4 goals in the first round and like had a 2-goal game. In game, I want to say 5 against St. Louis. And then Dennis Gurianov, we talked about him a little bit, but what a motor on that guy, dude. Like, talk about just feeling it in some positions and letting it fly. And I know he had 20 goals. He's not an underrated player, but just surprised that guy stepped up in such a large way.
Fair enough. Jacob, what do you got?
I think I'm going to have to go with Shea Theodore.
Oh, I love that.
He's always been a great defenseman, offensively minded. But to put up 12 points already in this 11 games was not something I expected out of him.
Well, and do you think it's like the microscope off a guy like that after so long of being like one of the guys that you look to for that kind of step it up role? Now he doesn't have to have that role because he's on such a good team, and now he's like flourishing.
It might have something to do with that, but it's just he was on this trajectory always, and we kind of rushed to get him there. And now suddenly he's there.
So I'll give you guys one guess who my guy is.
Who is it? We got to guess. I'm going to guess.
It's obvious. It's Miro Heiskanen. There is no fucking guessing. Okay, so I just want to put it out there. The top 5 people drafted in the 2017 NHL draft, you cannot go wrong with at least 4 to 5 of them. Hischier, am I saying that right? Hischier?
Yes,
yeah. Nolan Patrick, Heiskanen, Cale Makar, Elias Peterson. Who's the guy that doesn't belong in that one?
The top
it's Nolan Patrick.
Yeah, the top 2 really. Like
Hishier's not the number 1. Would you rather have Nolan Patrick or Nico Hischier than Miro Heiskanen? The answer is no.
No.
Not after you've seen what you've seen. Yeah. I might rather Cale Makar, maybe Elias Peterson, but no, I'm probably still going with Miro because it's so hard to come by a number 1 D guy. And the way he moves the puck, the way he skates, and the mature way in which he handles himself in high pressure situations, that's what you want. That's like a Scott Niedermayer type player where you need that to win a championship. So I did not expect him to be as good as he is, although I expected him to be good. He's blown me away. So go Stars. Heiskanen's a fucking demon.
Bingo bongo bango.
All right, boys.
Makar was actually probably the most shocking of the top 4.
He wasn't on my radar.
Drafted a guy out of junior A. Nobody thought he was going to go anywhere from there. I mean, obviously everybody did, but to go from junior A to college the next year to playing in the playoffs in that same year and showing he was an NHL defenseman from day 1.
Their scouting must be so good to be able to snap that guy up when everybody else is telling you, that's a bit high. It's a bit high, guys.
Shout out Joe Sakic and his scouting staff.
He's a fucking eye of gold. Okay. So you know what? Like when it comes to our segments, I'm gonna make lightning round lightning again. So have no fear about the time. We're running just fine here, boys. What I want to do is have a very comfortable, not rushed discussion, and we're gonna talk video games because there is some shit on the horizon. So I got some questions to ask you, and the first one revolves around just how do you feeling about the next gen after all the kind of screenshots we've seen, after all the news about technology and what's going to be in the guts of them. Like, what's your sense about what we're headed into in the next couple months? Because I think the release dates are in November for PS5 and Series X.
I'm
gonna let Joe go because he's got to get some say in here.
Oh, thanks. That's okay though. I honestly, I was just gonna say like, yo, I'm kind of like, I'm on the fence. I'm like back and forth because like, for one, I'm extremely disappointed that Halo got delayed. They released.
Did you see the graphics?
Dude, they weren't awful. Though.
No, 90% of them were great, but that one, what was it? The
dude at the end.
Yeah, what was that?
I know that was like Halo 2 shit. But other than that, though, like it looked amazing, like open world Halo. Like, dude, it looked so sick. So, but I kind of get that they're going the Sonic the Hedgehog, delay it. I'd rather them delay it and make it even better if it's going to be one of the like last Halos that they're doing.
For sure.
But
that's their tentpole, right? You got to do it right.
Yeah, exactly. And that exactly, but it's not going to get released with the new generation. So like, we'll see how that plays out. But I'm not, other than like Halo, dude. There's nothing about what Xbox was showing that was like, I'm excited for that. It just seemed like a lot of like kids games and nothing that like really stood out. Whereas Sony's showcase showed so much like actual next gen looking stuff. Some of the
Splat Nation.
The effect.
Joe is a fucking legend when it comes to Xbox support and just being that team guy. He's like my boy Nick. Like they've been Team Xbox since Team Xbox was born. Are you thinking about switching over to Team Sony on this generation?
Well, I don't know if I'm gonna make a switch, but make like a sidestep and have both of them.
There you go. That's the me play.
Yeah, that's what if I could make that happen, that'd be wicked. Because then we can play a bunch of sweet games. Plus, I'd be able to play Final Fantasy VII, which I also.
Sky's the limit.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, dude. Such a good game. I love it.
But like, and then kind of finally was like the Unreal 5 engine video, and we kind of touched on it a little bit on like a couple of months ago, I think. But oh my goodness, the technology in that, if they can bring that to the table on a lot of like AAA games, it looks next gen. Like it actually looks like something we haven't seen before, and to almost a scary degree of detail in the sense that's like it almost looks real.
Realism.
Yeah, it almost looks hyper real. Like,
and we were talking before, I think it was Jackson who mentioned it. It's like there's a difference between a tech demo and what the actual in-game play graphics will be, but undoubtedly it's going to be amazing, and it's going to be a step up from what we're looking at now. And the one thing that kind of blew me away recently was when I saw the Ratchet and Clank demo, which, those games have always been ridiculously fun, but it really showcased the what I told you guys last time we talked about it was the big thing for me in this generation was the solid state hard drive, which would ensure smaller loading times that there might not be loading into a new zone. When you like play Grand Theft Auto, when you go into like a new part of the city and it's got to load a bit, there shouldn't be any more of that this gen.
Yeah,
that's
no
what's got me most excited. Just seamless. And it looked
crazy.
Like they were doing the teleport, like Ratchet would open up a teleport and he would jump through it. And normally there'd be like some sort of loading time, but he's just teleporting all over the map with like no lag, no nothing.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, especially for games like something like Skyrim or something open world where you can legitimately see all that high detail in the distance. It's gonna be incredible. And like another thing too is, especially for like 8K TVs, I was at Best Buy last week and I was watching the 8K demo for I think it was a Samsung TV, and it was like a $5,000 TV, right? Like 75-inch 8K TV, and the quality of it, I was blown away. I was like, as soon as my dad gets here in a couple of weeks, to visit. I gotta just bring him and show him this fucking TV. Like,
He's gonna love it.
dude, it was incredible because one thing that 8K is amazing about is that it's still high definition sharpness, even when your face is like right up to the screen, like almost as high, not quite like your phone detail, like on a newer generation like iPhone or something, but it's pretty damn close to that. And like when you look at a frog up close, or like anything on like Discovery Channel, because the demo was showing a bunch of animals and like bees and stuff, it looks like a window. It looks like legitimately like a window. It's unbelievable.
Well, there's only so much like fidelity that the human eye can see in. I don't think 4K is the cap. I think 8K might be close to the cap, and most people probably won't be able to tell the difference. But it's undoubtedly like just a better, smoother tick up from 4K, and I think it's in early adopter syndrome right now, where you probably, even if you bought the technology, wouldn't see the full-fledged difference of it. But give it like 3 to 5 years and 8K becomes the norm, and you start getting these like, you know, built for 8K games out of the PS5 and Series X. Oh man, we're in for it. Let's get Jackson and Jacobs. Any thoughts in general?
Well, on the topic of that, on the topic of that, like 4K versus 8K, you really can't tell much of a difference. But there's been so little adaptation to actually include 4K into gaming.
Like native 4K.
Yeah, this new generation, that's what I'm really hoping for, is that native 4K, everything's gonna be at that quality rather than what we've had.
That's a good point. And I think it's not like just the 4K. It's like, are we doing 60 frames per second or are we not? Because for the longest time, that was the goal. And just a lot of games just can't make that happen. And I think a lot of it was the processor and the hardware of the actual system. So I think we're going to be able to get there now. We just want to play games in ridiculously high definition that don't lag and skip all over the place.
Well, and I'd hope at this point that they'd go beyond the 60. Like,
yeah, like 120.
Yeah,
what do you got for
120, me? Like,
yeah,
120 frames per second. Are we dreaming, boys?
What's reality in? Is it like
crazy,
how many frames is reality? Yo,
it's gotta be at least like 300.
Dude, yo, the like 4K, 8K distinction too. I was watching a video a little while ago about how it depends on your distance from the TV. So if you're like say 10 feet away or something like that, or to give you an idea, it's going to be kind of tough to tell the difference between 4K and 8K. But when your face is right up against the screen, dude.
Like it will be.
Like
for
it
sure.
will. Like I am sitting a foot away from that fucking TV, and
like when you're melting your corneas through the radiation of the heat coming off your TV,
getting a tan.
That is a good TV.
So, like, I mean, is it worth the like $3,000 to $5,000 to buy an 8K TV? My inclination would be no. Let's wait until they're like $1,500, like $1,000 on Black Friday. Normal.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that.
Yeah, but if I had the money to blow though, yep.
So Joe kind of hit the nail on the head. I'm not seeing much from Xbox right now. I want to know, out of the two next gen ones that we have seen, we don't know a goddamn thing from the third, and I'll get to that in a second. But out of Xbox and PS5, which one has impressed you more and why? Because okay, let me preface it with this. Like Xbox, from a spec standpoint, they are better. Like they have the capability to be better. The thing in my mind is that PS5 and Sony in general has always had that first party support.
The games, dude.
Always had those IPs.
Yeah.
They built it out like Nintendo did, where they have these intellectual properties that you can't use when you're on the other ones. And Microsoft just doesn't seem to prioritize that. So I'll get more into my opinion after, but is there anything you guys are seeing different than me? Or is there something that the viewers should know that we're missing the big picture here?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I've always been a big Xbox guy, but me too. I think I've been like dabbling with the idea of switching over on the new gens. I don't even know if it's a design thing more than like I feel like I have more friends now that play PS4 than that will be getting the PS5, so I feel like it's probably more that related. But I don't know, dude. I also have a hard time leaving Xbox, so we'll see. It's going to be a game time decision.
I want Joe and Jacob as well, but I'm just going to jump in and say that is a big consideration when you're thinking about which one to get, though, is which one do my friends play? And that's where the cross-platform thing needs to be like more of a priority for the developers and for the companies. I could see why they wouldn't want to do it, but at the same time, if you do make it cross-platform, you have a bigger audience for everybody. I wouldn't say make the first-party IPs, but all those sports games, all those Call of Duties, let us play with everybody.
That's
fuck the hackers on PC, but as far as consoles go, let us all play together. But the other thing is, like, Sony, you got God of War, you got Red Dead, you got actually Red Dead's on both of them, right? But you got Horizon, you got, like, there's so many fucking IPs that you're just like, Spider-Man, like, I gotta have it.
I know, dude.
Sony.
I almost bought a PS4 just for Spider-Man.
God of War is so good, boys. I played a bit of it. I'm just like blown away.
Yeah. I think the Switch is going to happen.
And speaking of the Switch, I got some shit to say about that later. Jacob, what are your thoughts on next gen? Have you seen much? Any impressions?
I've seen a little bit on the specs of each. I haven't watched too much gameplay. As you were saying, it looks like the Xbox has done a little more in the ways of specs, but I think the execution from PS5 is going to be much better.
Yeah, it seems like they got a long-term vision, and it's not only that they just have a long-term vision, it's that right out of the gate, they got Spider-Man, the Miles Morales, which while a lot of the people make a good point when they say that's basically expansion to Spider-Man, Spider-Man was so good. So an expansion that's next gen where you're flying around the streets of New York City, web crawling, like, sign me up. As long as it's not a $60 game and it's more like a $45. But they also got the new Horizon. Graphics. Have you guys seen that new Horizon? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's wild.
What's this Black Myth game?
Okay, so let's talk about that, because I guys sent you guys the video, and it's undoubtedly a gorgeous game. It looks like Dark Souls meets Chinese battle culture, and Wukong is like the monkey king of Chinese mythology.
Okay.
And I don't know, is it just me, or does that look fucking insane?
Dude, it reminds me of like kind of, I don't know if you guys played Ninja Gaiden. That was one of my favorite. Yeah, it was one of my favorite games in like the first Xbox, and man, like that, I love first off how the gameplay is like pulled back, like the camera isn't like zoomed really far on right on the thing, because one thing for like Final Fantasy 15, and I think this and Monster Hunters, like Black Myth and Monster Hunters, never played Monster Hunters, but I think they do an incredible job at dealing with giant monsters and how to like make it not awful. So this looks pretty cool, dude.
Well, that's the first thing I noticed is when I play a game like Skyrim or, one of those Dark Souls type Ninja Gaiden, the thing that excites me most is the bosses in the games. And this game looks like that 8-minute mark where you see the wolf. Not only do the graphics look gorgeous, but that looks like a fight I want to be involved in. I want to slay that bastard. And even at the 14-minute mark, like the mechanics of like fighting that thing, it looks not boring, not predictable. It looks like just a fun game to play.
Buttery.
And that has always been the issue with boss battles, is it's always just recognize a pattern, follow the pattern,
dodge,
kill.
punch, dodge.
Like it's always about finding that one pattern where you just repeat the same thing until he's dead. And this didn't look like that. It looked like you could actually manipulate the boss using your powers that you couldn't do.
And
in
there's
other
some
games.
creativity, and Joe mentioned the butteriness. It looks smooth.
And that's what's disappointing in other games too, is it's usually like you see like giant limbs, but you don't see the whole boss moving around smoothly, and like it just looks flawless.
That 8-minute mark, yeah, that thing looks fucking beast.
Yeah, the hair.
That's what next gen should be. Yeah, like what the fuck is that?
The detail.
When I saw that, I'm like, sign me up.
Yeah,
you got me. I might not be an early adopter because I think it's going to be in short supply. I already have enough fucking games to go around, but I might wait until a year in and get one on the holiday deals if there is any. But fuck, once I see people playing some of these games, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to hold out, boys.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so now that you've seen like actual footage from one of the games that's like next gen, that is what we're looking at. So other games that I noticed that are coming out are that Spider-Man Miles Morales, the new Horizon, the new Halo, that Black Myth one I just showed you. And did you guys see the Gotham Knights trailer they just released?
No.
No, what's that about?
So there's a Batman game. I don't know if you guys have ever played any of the Arkham City, Arkham Asylum type games.
I remember on like PS2, I think I did.
Okay, so they're pretty popular. There's a lot of people out there that like them. They've historically been, a single player epic, kind of in the line with like GTA, but with Batman. You get to drive around in the fucking Batmobile. You get to go solve missions. You get to beat the shit out of people with an awesome combat system. But the thing that got me is that apparently you can go through this new game like it's Arkham City type game, but with a friend in couch co-op.
Oh my goodness.
That is dope. That's what I want.
that.
Is to sit next to a bud and play through a crazy Batman adventure.
It's never made sense why you couldn't. Like Batman and Robin. Why is there not a Robin in any of these games?
Well, and the thing is, there's 4 main characters, all with like very specific, very cool, succinct, distinct powers. And I can't remember exactly who they are. One of them is Robin's. Another one's Nightwing. None of them are Batman because apparently Batman's dead in the game. I'm suspecting he's coming back at some point. But
like
they're all very
Catwoman?
cool, very unique. No, it's all very like good guy-ish.
Okay.
But okay, it's a superhero game where I can play through with my buddy and pick between 4 different characters who can all kick some major ass in high def next gen. Wow, that sounds like something I'd want to play. And that brings me to my next point is not have you guys seen it, because obviously you haven't, but I just kind of told you the basis for it. I want to get your guys' opinion. There's not enough local multiplayer couch co-op type awesomeness going on, and I've played Fall Guys recently. What a sweet party game to just play. They're bringing out local co-op for that soon because right now it's only online, but that just brought me to a point of we need more couch co-op, we need more local multiplayer games, and we need more party shit. Forget this single player epic sprawling, online only. My buddy has to have another online subscription and his own system to play. I want to sit there and play with my bud couch co-op.
Well, that was part
Like
of the
the good
thing
old
growing. Yeah, like the good old days, dude. Growing up with you guys and like and just ripping, Xbox games, going out and getting games from Blockbuster and stuff like that. There's something to be said, and then especially like being older and being able to like drink and stuff. Like I like I like board games and stuff too. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
like party games are just a fun way to spend some time when like. There might be pressure of like always trying to keep up with a conversation or something like that. It just takes a lot of pressure off in party stuff. And I think that why not have some more of that?
Well, think about like NHL, think about Mario Party, think about Halo. Like how much fun do we have playing these games growing up, or like even now? Like those are the best games. Those are the ones we get together and fucking just remember the games.
And
Dude,
as you'll notice,
know.
they're all still successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just give us more of that.
Like, yeah, give me more Mario Party. Give me more of that. 100%. I miss that
and
shit.
It's the barrier too, because like the Switch is my favorite console right now, and it's so good. I can understand why people don't want it because the online is fucking non-existent. But I guess that's my point. Is like you don't need online. If I'm having buds over at my house and I can bust out an awesome co-op experience like Mario Party, the new one's good, but there's only 4 maps. I think they need to bring out a new Mario Party, next gen, which brings me to the point of like, what the fuck is Nintendo doing when PS5's coming out, Series X is coming out? Are you just going to rest on the 1080p Switch? It's good, but
they did come out and say that early next year they're coming out with I think they call it the Pro model.
Yeah, and I saw that, and that's an
just
awesome.
Not a huge upgrade.
Exactly.
Does it do 4K
you better fix
or
your
no?
online. I doubt it. Who knows? I don't think we know enough about it yet.
Yeah, could you imagine playing Mario Party on that 80-inch 8K TV? Oh shit!
Yeah, with like 16 different maps. Like here's what we want, Nintendo. We want Mario Party 1 through 10, all the maps packaged into one game where you can play it online in a solid infrastructure, but also offline, 4-player fucking co-op with like 300 mini games. Book it. Stop being selfish.
Yeah.
Give the people what they want.
Yeah.
Is that not what gaming's all about? Like, we're screaming for a game like that.
Yeah.
100%.
Have you guys seen much on PS5's controller? Because that's a big thing for me too. It's so within everything that they're doing right. I don't know much about Xbox's controller. I know I've always preferred it from a design standpoint, that it just feels better in your hand. But some of the things that are coming out with this fucking PS5 controller, they got like haptic feedback. They got like the triggers.
What's
so,
haptic feedback?
So you pull the trigger down when you're like pulling back the string on a bow in the game, and you can feel the tension on the trigger as you pull it down.
Damn.
Like you're pulling back the bowstring.
That's pretty cool.
It's
and
just
that can
vibrations. That's all haptic feedback is.
Yeah, it stimulates the sensation like you're pulling the tension back on something.
Could you have like an addition or like an add-on where you can like attach it to your balls and fucking?
I don't know. That's
Dude, I got you can go on the internet, go to Amazon and just punch in vibrator. It'll blow your mind, dude. If that's what you're trying to do, you don't need to worry about sticking your PS4 controller on your balls. Just buy a vibrator. Better yet, buy a dick ring, and then you're laughing.
Okay.
They were talking about other things. Like, I think there's like sensors and like fans and like speakers in the controller itself now, where when there's wind, when you're slogging through the mud with your character, you can like feel resistance on the controller. Like you're going through different textures. Yeah, exactly. It's like
that's pretty cool.
Virtual reality.
I bite on that.
It's just like the natural evolution of like, we never knew we needed this, but if you put that in the controller, I'm not going to say fuck you.
Precisely.
Okay, so I got your guys' kind of general opinions as far as you know it on the next gen. Now, one thing I want to direct to Joe specifically is Halo is returning to local co-op. Thank the fucking Lord, because the last game did not have it, and that is what makes Halo Halo, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think? Like, is that not just the best news ever for Halo lovers?
Well, it really is, because it means that I can try and persuade my friends to play Halo with me again. Because I have like one friend that plays Halo, and like
because you're too damn good. Nobody wants to play against you.
Yeah,
we want to play with you when you bash the flood.
I know, man. Like, and I do miss that, because like playing through like the campaigns in Halo. That's one thing that I loved so much about that whole entire series. I was so invested in the like Star Wars level, in depth storyline and background stories and universe that they had created, and right from the get-go, like playing through those campaigns was such a treat. And having
it's a dream,
man, it's a dream, and not having that was like, Halo 5 has been going on, it's been like 5 years probably now, and like there's still lots of people playing, but honestly, dude, like when me and my buddy Trevor play, like Trevor is a little bit better than me actually. He's really good, and also he's probably mostly sober when he's playing. I am not. And dude, like the only people that are online playing Halo right now are like top 100 players in the world, dude. Like it's crazy. 25-2, like it's just nuts.
Us rooks, when we think of playing Halo, we think of wanting to play with our buds and experiencing that story. And other than Gears of War, I can't think of any other like shooter game that gives you that sense of satisfaction than starting from the story, having a couple wobbly pops with your boys, and I don't partake anymore, but smoking a big fat doob and just fucking going through the missions with like 3 of your buds.
Yeah, dude.
That's what it's all about.
The music.
Nothing better.
Oh, dude.
Okay, so Jacob mentioned that the Nintendo thing is coming out with whatever their fucking Pro is. I think Nintendo is kind of disconnected from what the audience that it's catered to wants. Like, the people that play Nintendo aren't fucking 8-year-old kids anymore, guys. We are 35-year-old men, and we grew up playing Mario, and we're not ashamed that we're 35-year-old men that still like to play cartoony shit, because you got some of the best IPs, some of the best offerings, but stop dicking around. Give us a Pokemon MMO. Give us like
Ooh,
fucking
that would
Mario,
be so
Mario
sick.
Party with everything in it. Give us like a fucking all-star Mario Kart.
Like a
They gave
dark,
us Smash Bros.
a dark, gritty Game of Thrones Mario game.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
okay, so
I was just
I'm
joking,
biting.
but yeah, you like that. I was just kind of kidding, but I mean, now that I've thought about it,
Well, okay, so there was a concept art that obviously Nintendo shut it down because they're protecting their IPs, but also jerk offs. There was a realistic Pokemon that like reimagined them as like actual monsters
So
and like
scary,
realistic
actually.
graphics, and it looked sick. I was like, man, if that was how it looked on next gen, and you could like 4K that shit, sign me up. But they can't even get online right, so like, there's something fucking seriously wrong with Nintendo. And do you think that they're gonna get left behind in this new gen, or like?
I don't know if
I
they're
don't
even
know.
like in competition with the other two. Like, is they're
I
just
know
like
it's
playing
it's
their own
almost a
game?
separate thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
And
is.
It's been a few generations of that though. Like the Switch didn't come out when the PS4 did. Like it was
They're off cycle.
yeah. They create their own cycle and they just go to hell with you guys. We're just gonna do what we want.
Well, and Jacob's got a Switch, and me and him, like, we both have the system, and we've enjoyed some games on it. They're undoubtedly like not in rhythm with the other consoles, and they're kind of just marching to the tune of their own drum. I thought Wii U was gonna kill the company, but the Switch has undoubtedly brought it back. So back to Jacob, and like, how are they navigating going forward? Like, what is their thought process? Like, are they drunk at the wheel, or are they mad scientist geniuses?
It seems like people who have Switches wanted something just a bit better, that it didn't have enough processing power, it didn't have enough space, and it seemed lacking. And so I think they're hoping that they can get people to buy a new Switch because of the upgrades that they've put in.
What would it take Joe and Jackson to buy a Switch? Because they obviously got the IPs, like they have those original properties that are fucking sick. But what is people holding back? Is it's just too kiddie now for you, preference wise, or is it the fact that Xbox 360 figured out online like fucking 15 years ago and they still haven't gotten their shit together in 2020? Is that, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, ultimately the things we kind of touched on, but if you gave me like competitive online Mario Kart, a competitive online Mario Party, that
Two of the things we didn't touch on were fucking Zelda, Metroid. Like, look at the properties
and
look at the
Pokemon,
potential.
dude. If you gave me a great Pokemon game, I would 100%. That's my nostalgic sweet spot right there. Is anything Pokemon. So if they could come with that, I think I'd make the addition. But
when they tease us with like kind of a bit of what we want and like a bit of evolution, but just fucking go ham. Stop dicking around.
Like I'm you're kind of convincing me on going to pick up a Switch, because it's reminding me of how much fun I've had with Spyro and Crash Bandicoot. Because
those were good remakes.
Man, yeah, like I bought the combo pack for those games, and they're so fun and lighthearted.
Nostalgia.
Yeah, and that lightheartedness, I think Nintendo clearly knocks out of the park. But I like a lot of that too at the same time, because like I'm playing a lot of Dragon Ball Fighters. It's just like kapow kapow, and explosions, and then friggin' shooting people down and Halo and stuff. It's nice to play something a little lighthearted, and it's making me.
The nostalgia makes you feel like a kid sitting on the edge of your bed again with your brother at like 8 years old, and they have that market and that capability, and like the IPs to do it. And I think if you can get the right online infrastructure at the right price and just upgrade the graphics a bit and like put more effort into catering to the adult market, I think they can hit a home run out with the next gen, whatever the hell it ends up being.
But it almost seems like it's part of their business model to always leave you wanting more.
That's so stupid though.
That's smart,
It
though, in a
keeps
way,
people
as well.
coming back.
Yeah.
They
It doesn't keep them coming
continually
back.
sell.
You know what keeps me coming back is the fact that I love their properties, and like they could fucking almost implode themselves and I'd still buy it, but it doesn't mean I'm like happy with what they're doing. They could be so much more. They could take over the gaming world if they did it right.
Yeah.
And they got the money to do so. Like they've been turning a profit for years. Like they have lots of money in the bank, but they're like very catered to the Japanese market, and I think they're out of tune with what the North American customer wants.
That is definitely true.
Okay, so the last thing on gaming before we jump into the segments here. Is there any sequels you guys are hoping to see on next gen that's not already announced? I have a list of mine, but I'm going to let each of you go first. Let's start with Jackson.
Oh, dude.
Not already announced.
Oh, boy. Shit, dude.
Do you want me to jump to somebody else? I put you on the spot there. I can start with mine if none of you guys have one.
I don't even know if I have one, so I'll just sit this one out and you guys run with it.
Yeah, I got nothing off the top of my head.
So
let me think about
one thing we did mention was a new Mario Party. Like, there's so much potential. I saw my buddy playing it on stream, the one on Switch. Me and Michelle got the ones on GameCube and been playing them lately. That is just something that people enjoy, and you need to figure your fucking online shit out. Because if I could get an online game with like 8 players total in a game of fucking Mario Party and just go bang each other out for stars, sign me the fuck up. The other things I'd like to see are Final Fantasy Tactics. You haven't done a good one of those in like 15 years. Give me a good strategy game that's like Final Fantasy Tactics. The first one was on PlayStation 1 all the way back in that day. You could do it. You just don't think there's a market for it. I'm fucking telling you there is. Maybe it's an IP thing. Maybe they don't have the rights to do it. Talk to Square. Figure it the fuck out. And then the other one are games like Fall Guys, because Fall Guys blew up on the scene. They offered it for free through PS Plus like 2 weeks ago. I told everybody and their grandmother that's in my friends list to go pick it up. Not only because it's free, because it's fun as hell and it's like taking over the market. I think they said they had 7 million downloads in the last like month or so. And it's just a fun game. You get on there, there's 50 other people in the lobby. It serves that party game market of just fucking madness occurring at every corner. And it's like Wipeout with like crazy drunk fucking puppets. And you just need to cater to those people, like the 1 versus 100 games of the original Xbox. The Mario parties, that type of thing. Just get a lot of people in one lobby and make it fun. It's not rocket science, guys. They're all focused on the big Red Dead Redemptions and GTA 6, and like there's room for both. But what we're really craving in a market that doesn't have a lot of them is fun multiplayers that we can just have a couple beers and sit back and fucking jam.
Dude, Sonic the Hedgehog sequel. That's
and
like
who's doing that now? It's anybody, right? It's Sega's third party.
Yeah, and so like the thing about Sonic 06 was a game that I kind of was a little like saddened about how many reviews shit all over it, because like I saw the trailer, man, it was epic, dude. Like it was like Sonic the Hedgehog, and it was like freaking there's like dragons, and then there's like hardcore rock music, and it was like pretty high quality graphics. I was like, this is sick. And it was all third person Sonic, which is just like go incredibly fast forward. And like I love the sideways stuff, but they're like all the past games, like Generations was good, and I didn't play anything after that. I think there was 1 or 2 games after, but they like do this combo of like some of them, like the first act is in third person where you're going like as fast as a freaking lightning bolt forward, and then the other one is like the other half of the game is side scrolling, and like I don't mind that, but again, like I played Generations and I haven't bought the last 2 games, and from as far as I'm concerned, like I just want like a solid only third person Sonic game because I want to go fast.
Well, and the thing about Sonic is like he's been disrespected over the years, and you shouldn't disrespect Sonic, because if you're looking at the Mount Rushmore of gaming, you got Mario, you got Sonic, you got Crash Bandicoot, and probably Link. And don't do a disservice to Mr. Sonic by making like a rushed out, crappy, shitty game.
Also,
You
don't
have
make him
next-
fall in love with a human woman. Like, that was weird.
Didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, that
But
was
yeah,
the
that's
song.
probably not a good call.
Yeah, they have
Like,
there's
that
like a
seems
romance.
obvious.
I know, it's like a weird romance in Sonic 06.
That actually happened. Eh?
Yeah, it really did.
Who storyboarded that one? Fire him.
Wasn't that just following the movie?
I haven't seen the movie. Have you guys?
Oh, that was cool. I loved it.
Oh, Joe said he liked it. You saw it, Jacob?
No, but I saw the trailers, and that definitely looked like it was part of it.
No.
Jim Carrey as
No,
Robotnik just kind of fucking weirded me out. But
Oh, he's so
You
good,
guys-
man. He steals the show.
yeah, you guys said he was
dude.
good. Eh?
It's
Yeah.
like old school
He's a
Jim
dude.
Carrey. You know, like it's
like Ace Ventura type
Ace
shit?
Ventura, Jim Carrey. Yeah, it's great.
All right, I'll reserve judgment. Like Jackson, have you seen this fucking abomination? I shouldn't call it an abomination.
The Hedgehog movie?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Dude,
I
it's
haven't
great.
seen it.
It's good.
Do you have
But-
any desire to watch this thing? Go fast, bro.
Yeah, not really.
Honesty. All right, boys. It's that time. We'll dabble again. We'll have Jacob on again, but let's jump into.
I don't know.
It's time for Would You Rather?
I don't know.
All right, a little would you rather for your ear holes. I think I'm going to start it off with just, a shot in the dark here. It's hard for me with these questions because I never know which ones are really going to be tough for you guys or hit home. But that's the beauty of it, because when it hits you and I hear that, oh man, that's when I know I did it. So let's just, would you rather live in virtual reality where you are all powerful, or live in the real world and be able to go anywhere but not be able to interact with anyone or anything?
Oh shit.
Ah,
That's
dude.
pretty in depth, eh?
I like it though.
So here's the caption: a god in the machine or a ghost in the real world?
Oh.
Fucking float around.
I'm gonna make my decision's pretty simple here. I'm going with VR.
Yeah.
Not interacting with people in the real world. What's the point? So,
Well, some people don't like to interact with people anyways, right?
Well, I'm one of those people, but
Well, you can go anywhere and know it's
but
real.
VR, you could experience anything you want, do anything you want, and
Ready Player One, bro.
But I'd like to see it more as like an alternate reality sort of thing versus a virtual.
So like the augmented thing.
Yeah, sorry, augmented.
Yeah, I would take the virtual reality too. Just all power. I'm addicted to power. I need more power. Give me
Yeah.
all the power.
Yeah, that'd be cool because like you could fly around. Like that would be the first thing I want to do is just fucking fly. Just Superman everywhere.
Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z.
Well, I think
Jake?
it would come down to what are like. Is the graphics of the virtual reality world? Can I tell that I'm in virtual reality and it's very like or like, you know what I mean, like digitized, or does it look real? Because if it looks real, that's a no-brainer.
Okay,
If it's not,
what if it was Rick and Morty?
I don't know. Like Rick and Morty to me, or like I am in the show.
Like you're Rick Sanchez. Oh, I would do that.
I don't know. I think if it's too, I don't know, cartoony or digitized, I'd probably want to go anywhere in the real world just because there's something to be said about the real world beauty. And if I could go anywhere and just fucking observe, because that's what I like to do sometimes on vacation anyways, is just leaving the fuck alone and I'm staring off into the sunset or the stars or into the sweet mountain landscape. I don't know. I might be able to do that, but there's a lot of things you can do in virtual reality. So who am I kidding? Right?
And you make it what you want. So you could choose, I want to go to these places that I would go to in person anyway.
So it looks like the real thing.
Experience.
Is that your guys' take on this?
That's my interpretation of it.
Okay, then yeah, it's a no-brainer.
And who wouldn't want to live through a video game? Like, wouldn't
Yeah.
you want to jump into a video game and experience it firsthand?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think
Well,
that's the natural evolution in like 20 years, right?
what if there's like, is there like a pain tolerance meter or something? Like, If I'm in like a friggin' Halo game,
question.
you know what I mean? Because here's a crazy thing that there's a YouTube channel that did like a wicked analysis of what happens when when you're playing Halo and as soon as you like bash the guy in the back of the head, they just like lock up and fall to the ground. Apparently, if you apply science to it, what happens is that like the fucking big giant several like couple 100-ton machine armor that the Spartans are wearing is attached to their, this is inverse explanation too, like it's attached to their nervous system. So as soon as like they get knocked out, it basically breaks all their bones, and that's what basically kills them. So like, is there a way to shut that like pain off, or you know what I mean? Like
It's a good question. I don't know.
I mean, if I was anyway,
I think that would go into more augmented reality than virtual.
yeah, like only the good stuff, none of the pain. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go on, slam my hand on top of this fucking oven burner and
Watch it melt and respawn, eat a potion, and fucking.
Exactly. Man, if you could do like Skyrim as your life and just go through different video games like that would be dope.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're getting there at some point. That would be like Ready Player One. Here's a funny, strange one. Would you rather have to read aloud every word you read or sing everything you say out loud?
I would sing everything I say. It would be so annoying, but
I would sing everything I say. You know how ridiculous that would be?
Yeah.
What's the other one? Read everything you say out loud?
No, like everything you read, you have to read it out loud.
I don't know. That could cause some really embarrassing scenarios.
I know. Right?
I know. I think I'd say sing everything I say.
Yeah, I think that's got to be the option.
Yeah.
What would you do, Jax?
I would sing everything that I say.
All right, that's fair enough.
That was pretty good.
You're on the next American Idol. We've been watching this. Have you guys seen this Masked Singer thing? I guess that's another story for another day.
Yeah,
it's so good. It's intriguing.
Yeah,
it's that trash TV we were talking about last time.
It's like fucking giraffes and hippopotamuses and shit just singing.
Yeah, I'll indulge you because like I don't know if you and Jess have not seen it because it's more for like couples because you could watch it with your wife and she's like super into it. Would you rather have all dogs try to attack you when they see you, or all birds try to attack you when they see you?
Oh man, I'm gonna say all birds. Sorry, because I love dogs and I already hate birds. But the birds is way more terrifying. But I don't want dogs to not like me.
Dive bomb. Do you want to be bit in the nuts or pecked in the eye?
I hate birds, man.
We could dive into that a bit later. What do you guys think?
I gotta go with birds too, because dogs, there's a lot more. The level of violence is a lot higher. I can wear goggles to not get my eyes pecked out, but I can't stop a pit bull from basically running me over and chewing my face off.
What if it's like a pack of bald eagles versus like a chihuahua? Does that make any difference?
Yeah, if it was like a group of a group of fucking condors.
That's not what I'm saying,
but if it was, nah, dude, like, oh man, that scene where freaking what's his name, the puke guy, not Joffrey in Game of Thrones,
the puke guy?
Oh yeah, the other dude,
the guy who's like the worst guy ever,
the wiener cutter guy.
Oh, Ramsey.
When he gets, spoiler alert, when he gets eaten by his own dogs alive, that shit is gnarly, dude.
Yeah,
that's why I'd pick birds too, for sure.
Yeah, because
that's what came to my mind.
Well, the birds would like. I feel like for one, you probably couldn't outrun either of them, but for like dogs, it would just be so raw. Like it's not like pecking is one thing, but like chunks of something, you know what I mean? Like that would just be so incredibly painful. I'm gonna have to go with the birds too. Unanimous decision.
Yeah. All right, here's a fun one to end it off, and then we're jumping into trivia. Would you rather there be a perpetual water balloon war going on in your city or town, or a perpetual food fight?
Water balloons.
You don't want to take a fucking lasagna in the face?
Yeah, I'd say food fight, dude. You never know what people got cooking.
Yeah,
that could be tasty. Like you just get like a nice handful of gummy bears or something thrown at you. Like,
it'd be such a mess though to me. Like it'd just be like, oh, I got fucking
That's
sticky all the time.
But if everyone's doing it,
yeah,
you just get a pack of birds to come.
It might solve the homeless problem, in a way. Like
instead of throwing it out, let's throw it at each other.
Yeah, I mean that could be a very good thing for the world.
Okay, so Joe's in the water balloons, Jackson's in the food. Jacob's in the what?
I think I'm going to have to go water balloons too, just because it sounds way more fun than getting who knows what.
Spaghetti at your
Yeah, okay, so here's my question. And I think I would rather do the water balloons too, because who the fuck knows? What is the worst food you could get thrown at you that you can think of off the top of your head?
Boiling hot soup.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, that's a
haggis.
Haggis? What's that?
It's boiled sheep stomach. Just get smoked in the back of the head with that smelly thing.
Oh yeah.
All right, boys. Anyone else got any interesting insight for that?
Nah, you guys covered it pretty much.
Yeah, we got it.
We're good.
It's time for lightning round. Lightning round. Lightning round.
All right, boys. So we talked a lot about video games and we talked a lot about hockey. But since Joe doesn't know much about hockey, I figured to only be fair, we're going to have some video game trivia once again. Now, it's strange because normally we'd have the guest be the question asker. But considering the shortage in time we had before the show, I'm going to ask it and Jacob's going to be my ringer. So if he wins, I get to do the epic rant. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Yep, I like that deal.
All right. Question number one. We're gonna lightning round it. So I'm gonna ask it quick, and you're gonna answer quick, and I'm gonna give you a cutoff and say, nobody answers it. We're moving on to the next one. What is the name of the hero from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out?
Mike Tyson.
Nope.
Igor.
Nope.
I got nothing.
Vlad.
It's Little Mac. He is in Smash Bros.
I was close.
Igor.
Yeah, you guys are terrible. Okay, so we got 6 more questions. Which video game is generally considered to be the original third-person shooter?
Oh, 007, James Bond. Oh, no, that's first person. Never mind.
Even then, that wouldn't be the... Doom was before that.
Quake? I don't think Quake's third person
That's
either.
a better guess, but... anybody else got...
I don't remember third-party shooters.
Okay, think Nazis.
Think Nazis. Okay.
It's a game you guys have heard of, but probably wouldn't be able to think of off the top of your head. Wolfenstein.
Yeah, I wouldn't...
I didn't think that was that old.
It is fucking old. That's before Doom, apparently. And Quake. In what year did Nintendo release its first game console in North America?
1989.
I'm going to give you each a guess, and then I'm going to give you some multiple choice.
87.
Nope. Joe?
85.
85 is the answer,
Oh,
Joe.
shit.
Wow.
Shot in the dark.
Yes.
Sniper.
Excellent, sir. Ed Boon and John Tobias are the original designers of which renowned video game franchise?
Mortal Kombat.
Answer quick enough? Oh my god, yes. Are you kidding me?
No, I only know...
Did you know that?
No, yeah, I did. Boone. I just thought the guy's name was weird, so I remembered.
Oh, okay, you guys are fucked. Here's Joe.
Joe's stealing the show. Oh, it's all right. He hasn't won trivia in forever anyways.
That's insane that he got that. Okay. So I think I asked 4 so far. What is the name of the primary world upon which the World of Warcraft takes place?
Azeroth?
Yes. Jacob, nailing it. It is Azeroth. It is home to trolls, humans, elves, dragons, and other warring species. What is the... Okay, this is going to be... Okay, Joe's ahead 2-1 and nothing. So I'm going to give Jackson the first crack at this because Joe will know too fast. What is the name of the alien alliance who are the main antagonists in the first trilogy of Halo games?
Oh, man.
Think Abraham and God.
Dude, I was gonna say
Joe-
Voltons,
Joe's helping his brother.
but
Voltron.
Abraham's and God's.
I don't know if that would even help me, and I know the answer. No.
Dude, I don't know, man. I have no idea. I'm sorry. Pass.
Jacob?
Jacob?
I'm
Anything?
blanking for...
Shot in the dark?
Well, the flood doesn't count, right?
That's a good guess, but it is not. I guess I'm going to open it up to Joe because he's going to know this answer.
The Covenant.
What is it, Joe? It is the Covenant.
Oh, yeah.
The Kingdom Hearts video game series is a collaboration between Disney and what famous gaming company?
Nintendo?
Nope, that's a good guess.
Have
you guys played Kingdom Hearts or heard of it?
Square Enix?
Joe was just killing it. All right. Trivia done. Joe has annihilated the competition.
Wow.
And that was very lightning roundish. All right, boys.
Good trivia, though, by the way. Shouty Jake.
Yeah, just fucking rapid fire.
Yeah,
All right.
Oh my God. What's weird in the world today? Oh my God.
He didn't just do that.
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
All right. So, because we have a guest today, we're going to throw what's weird to him because I know he's got a sexy one for y'all. Jacob, what you got, man?
So, I don't know if you three saw this video, but I was sitting at work this morning. On the news, they showed a video of a child, 3 years old, gets caught up in the lines of her kite and just gets launched probably about 15 feet in the air, and then just so happens to nicely land in a crowd of people that promptly caught her. But it was, I was like, what are the odds of a kid actually getting, like, it must have been a good 15 feet up.
I did not see that, but I almost want you to send me that so I can see what you're talking about here.
It's like impromptu cheerleading.
Crazy.
That is definitely weird. That doesn't happen every day. Jackson, what you got, man?
You know what? It's actually perfect that you threw it to me after that because I have something similar that's weird. That actually didn't happen today. It was supposed to happen tomorrow, but I just fact-checked myself, which barely ever happens. And it actually got postponed to potentially September 1st or 2nd. But David Blaine. Have you guys heard about David Blaine recently?
No, what's going on?
No.
So David Blaine, the magician / illusionist / whatever the hell it's called that he does, pushing his body to these extreme levels. His next stunt is he's gonna like go up into essentially almost space in balloons. So
Wow.
it's called David Blaine Ascension, and he's got like it literally looks like like a bunch of balloons, like say that like holding 100 balloons, right? It's like he's gonna hold on to all these balloons, and the balloons are gonna lift him up off the ground, and he's gonna go to like a certain height before apparently coming back down.
How the hell do you pull that off? Like, is that like a video illusion kind of editing thing?
No,
or
it's like a stunt, dude. Like he's doing he's had to like go through like a year and a half of planning this stunt, and it was supposed to happen tomorrow, but they had to push it because of weather. It was supposed to happen in New York City, and now they're doing it in Arizona. So yeah, dude, it's gonna be crazy. He was on Joe Rogan explaining all of it, but
Of course he was.
yeah, obviously. But it seems insane. Like the pictures that he had, his mock concepts for it are insane. It looks like it's gonna be awesome. So that's
So that's like that. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that's available on YouTube when he does it.
Well, and David Blaine, he's like the Chris Angel. Like, there's got to be some secret to like when they do this crazy fucking shit. Is it video editing? Is it like optical illusions?
Well, that's
like,
the cool thing about
tripping the
David
mind?
Blaine, though, is like David Blaine's geared a lot like in recent stunts. It's been a lot of just like pushing the boundaries of your body as opposed to like card tricks.
Yeah, exactly.
But what's his plan for getting back down? Just like letting go of a couple balloons?
Oh yeah, let's go.
Yeah, dude. So
He's just
there's
waiting to
actually
float back down?
so he explains that there's actually this contraption that he's wearing like on his whole arm, so that his wrist doesn't and his shoulder doesn't like pop out of the sockets, because like you can't hold on to shit with one arm. He's doing it one arm, but anyways, he's wearing this contraption, and I guess there's like a machine inside the middle of the balloons that when the time comes, it'll start like auto popping a certain amount of balloons until he starts floating back down. It is insane, dude. Like, but it also something that I want to watch for sure.
Interesting.
That sounds pretty crazy.
Yeah, so that's
All right.
what's weird.
Oh, this is definitely weird. Joe, what you got, man?
Do you guys like lobster?
I love lobster.
Dude.
Like eating it or
Just like
hanging out
in
with it?
general, yeah, like you have lobster buddies. Well, anyway, apparently Trump turns an election year eye on Canadian lobster. And
Oh, God.
yeah, quote, "We're not sure what it means," unquote, says the Lobster Council of Canada executive director. So
We have no idea what he's talking
yeah, apparently he just was in Maine and he was doing his thing, and he was basically saying that the lobster exports in Canada are putting a hamper on the American U.S. lobster industry, and he's trying to make a play there. So lobster dudes, like I guess that was one of the promises that he made to Maine. I could be wrong about that, but at the same time, yeah, you know. It is such a weird fucking like
America.
Yeah, Canada.
Maine lobster.
Yeah, you know what? We're coming after you, Canada, for your lobster. It's
Yeah.
fucking ours.
Fucking lobster. We got the best lobster.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, go ahead.
I don't understand why he keeps fighting, like picking us fights with Canada.
Yeah.
What have we
He
done?
hates
other
how
than
nice
help
we
him?
are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Too nice.
Apparently, we're too nice for him.
Yeah, that must be it. Because I mean, we haven't done anything to anyone ever. So
Yeah.
whatever. I like our lobster.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so mine is gonna be on our favorite guy in the world, Elon Musk, and his brain chip, because we've been talking a lot about this thing. Apparently, Musk has put his computer chips in 3 pigs, and the animal brain, and he's testing it on the pigs right now. And he's saying that they're healthy, happy, and indistinguishable from a normal pig. He's trying to like control their limb movement during treadmill runs at high accuracy using these implants. And the thought is that if he can kind of like control the neurological movements of these pigs, then they're ready for like human trials. And the thought is when they get to human trials, the first application is going to be to cure paralysis, to cure like Parkinson's disease, hearing loss, and stimulate like nerves in general. So I thought those, I don't know, part of me is like those poor pigs, like they're just like being manipulated by this mad scientist genius. But at the same time, I mean, if people can get cured of, being a quadriplegic through this brain link, then I think that's, okay to do animal testing, okay to do human testing, and I hope it works out as planned. But I'm starting to think more and more as we hear about Musk and his grandiose plans that he is like probably the next step towards that Terminator. What is it? What is that company again?
Skynet.
Skynet. Yeah, he's like that guy that like triggers Skynet. like he's gonna be.
Well, that's kind of where that sounds like it's going, is like controlling. Well, it's great for those specific uses of making it so some people can walk again, have control of their limbs again.
And that's all good and great.
But what's the catch? You're giving him control over
your brain,
your body,
from like some central location.
Your brain.
And things get hacked.
And like he's saying like eventually he's thinking that, you know, you can have your consciousness downloaded into like a robotic or a cyborg body after you get this brain chip, because it'll like track your memories and like your brain patterns. That is Skynet. Like he's gonna do that in some Black Mirror type fashion into like cyborgs and robots, and then eventually we just won't be human bodies anymore. We'll be brain chipped fucking cyborgs, and then eventually we'll be just robots. So I thought that was weird, a little bit crazy, but that's Elon Musk in a nutshell. So yeah, any thoughts before we jump into Epic Rant?
It gave me a rant just
Good
now.
on me.
Yeah, going gone. All right.
It's a Shonda Nahapa, fantastic and it's
It's time for Epic Rant. Epic Rant.
Joseph, the floor is yours.
All right, so there's this quote that is by Anonymous. I don't know who said it, but it's the idea that God abhors a void. And so kind of goes something like the human soul needs something bigger than itself. And the nihilism of our generation is that we're lacking anything to really latch onto. And it makes me think of this dude, Jason Silva. And he's a modern philosopher. And he talks about something that's very, very interesting. And it's in terms of meditation and going for walks, because I love going for walks. I said this in, I think, the last couple of episodes of the podcast, how good it is to relax yourself and to calm down if you're stressed. Like I remember mentioning, smoking too much weed, go for a walk. And fortunately, the neighborhood in the area around where I live is a lot of eye candy. It's very lush. And Vancouver is very known for having just incredible scenery, very cinematic looking stuff. And so what I wanted to talk about was how Jason Silva brings up the idea of a woke or eyes open meditation. And he describes this on his channel. He's got a YouTube channel called Shots of Awe, and I follow him on Instagram and stuff too. But it's a very cool idea, and I thought that I'd share it with you guys too. And maybe you could think of it while you're going for walks and stuff. So like meditation is all about kind of clearing your mind and going through stuff and dealing with stresses and that sort of stuff in your everyday life and helping to calm and be mindful and that sort of stuff. And he comes up with the really cool idea of meditating with your eyes open and not being in like a dark room and everything all closed off and being alone with your thoughts, but rather open your eyes, go for a walk and be in and kind of get yourself into that meditative state, but do it with the world around you. And what he's described, and I've kind of experienced this, and maybe you guys have experienced it yourself too, where there's like sometimes it feels like the world's talking to you, or you'll have signs and stuff like that, and going for a walk and then just seeing like bringing or summoning a thought or a feeling, and then just seeing how the world reacts. It's something that I find really enlightening, but also very helpful too, because I've had some stressful times where going for a walk has been dramatic in sorting out my thoughts and helping with just how to deal with, everyday stresses and anxieties. So, I just want to recommend that to everybody listening and everything. Just go for more walks. And Jackson, you've been saying this to me all the time, like, just go for a walk, dude. And like, you'll feel way better. So I think that that's something I'd like to share with everybody.
Absolutely. That's a great advice.
Yeah. Fresh air and sunshine will do wonders. And like the clearing the mind thing is definitely a great point. Some people need more of that in their life.
Yeah.
And you know what? I know on last check did not want to have a little rant of his own, but Jacob, the floor is yours. If you want it again, I will levy that opportunity to you.
While I'd love to go off on my Leafs and how disappointed I am with this year,
We'll save that for next one.
I think I'll save that for the next one.
Okay, well then all I got to say is Dallas 3, Colorado nothing, bitches.
Oh.
Check the ticker. All right, any parting thoughts from Joe Jackson in general?
God bless.
I'm good. What an episode. Jacob, thank you very much for coming on. We appreciate it. It was a great time getting to shoot the breeze and hang out. I hope you had some fun, and hopefully we'll have you back on again sometime in the future.
Yes, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was great to meet you guys. I had a blast shooting the shit.
Yeah. All right, boys. Well, till next time, peace out, Splat Nation.
That's all for tonight, folks. Tune in next week for more tasty podcasting goodness. Send us your thoughts and comments on our social media pages. And be sure to hit that like or follow button. Check us out at our website at www.seewhatsticks.net and give us suggestions for content you want us to discuss on the show. And any ideas you have for lightning round trivia. What's weird in the world today? And would you rather? Until next time, Splat Nation.